Okay, so what I need you guys to do is to click that link I sent you in the chat and scroll over to here for students and click for students. And when you click that button, you'll be taken to this site here where you just enter your first name, your last name, give whichever email you prefer, and select these two options. Click this, agree to the terms, and then click create your EDU account. And this should not take more than around 2 minutes. So I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to do this. And just let me know in the chat when you guys are done creating your accounts. So once you guys have created your accounts, you should be at this screen. So this is the home page of the Onshape UI. So you can see at the top here, this is just the home button. You have your create button where you can create a document, a folder. You can import CAD files, import from another service. We usually don't use that, and label. So these are all, those last two we don't reuse too often. You'll see at the left here kind of navigation similar to Google Drive. So it's, in fact, this entire Onshape software is web-based and it works very similarly to Google Docs. So and it's relatively quite powerful, and that's the reason a lot of robotics teams and just student teams and even college teams use the software. So what I need you guys to do is go over to create and hit create document. And then when you do that, you'll get prompted to give a name, call it anything, maybe practice, or International STEM Olympics Day 2, whatever it might be. And I already have a folder pre-made, so I'll just go over to it. So let me know when you guys have this ready. And when you see the screen. Christina and Rhythm, do you guys see it? Okay, great. Christina does. Rhythm, do you?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, great. So here is where we'll actually do computer-aided design, that is CAD. So for one, you'll see two tabs at the bottom here. You'll see a plus sign as well, where you can create new types of files like a part studio or assembly or drawing, these kind of things. And we also have two default files, part studio 1 and assembly 1. So here is where we make parts. So in CAD, the basic level is just creating three-dimensional parts. But then if you want to use CAD more practically, especially if you have like an actual engineering project to work on, you would want to use an assembly. And in the assembly, you can assemble multiple parts that you've either imported or created by yourself. So now we go to part design, because this is the most basic concept within CAD to learn. So parts in CAD, parts in 3D space are formed in this manner. You have a two-dimensional geometry that's then given a third dimension, and then you modify the resultant three-dimensional shape. So for example, I could create a sketch in this plane, look at it perpendicularly. I can just make a rectangle, maybe give this a 2-inch, give this a 2-inch width, and give it a 2-inch height, whatever that might be. Hit check, and then I can take that two-dimensional shape and I can extrude the two-dimensional shape 2 inches, and that gives us this cube. So I'll just hide the planes real quick, and you see you have the cube. So that's the point of CAD. You have that two-dimensional shape that's given a third dimension. So let me undo that real quick so that we can do something else. Okay. So you'll notice here that we have a front plane, a top plane, and a right plane. So it's up to the design of the part, the functionality of the part, for you to decide where you want to create your sketch. So for example, let me just annotate a shape right here on the screen. So if, for example, we had a part that when we look at it from the side view, it looks like this. Like this, okay? So say it looks like that from the side view. And if we were to look at it from a corner view, maybe it'll look like this. We have that L shape, like this, and so on. So this is called an isometric view. I apologize for the quality of the drawing, but I'm kind of using a mouse right now, so it's a bit difficult to draw. But you guys get the point. So this second view at the bottom here, that's called an isometric view. And the top view is a right view. So, or rather, it's a front view. I apologize. It's a front view. And the reason it's a front view is it gives the most information about the part. Now you'll notice that if we were to look at the same part here that you see at the bottom from the right in relation to the front view, then we just see a rectangle. Maybe we'd see outlines of the other contours of the shape. Maybe you would see this line corresponding to this, and then we'd see this line. We'd see this line over here corresponding to this. We just see those outlines. But the general shape of what we see is still just a rectangle. And the same thing applies when we're looking at it from a top view. We just see a rectangle. But looking from the side, from the front rather, from this view, gives us the most information about the shape of the part. And so that's why we give this, we associate this view with the front. This is just engineering drawing convention. So that's how we'd go about CADing this part. If we wanted to CAD this, we'd go over to the front plane, click it so that it's highlighted, and then hit this sketch button. And then we'd be taken. And then we can look at the plane from the side here by just clicking this cube. And then we'll be taken to that plane. So at the top, you'll see that you have a different toolbar than what was there before. You'll see you have some points, some shapes. And these are the functions that you'll use to create two-dimensional geometry. So let me know, guys, Christina and Ridhiman, when you guys have created a sketch in the front plane and are now looking at it like this. Let me know when you guys see this on your screens and you guys have this toolbar up here. Okay, nice. Christina sees it. Ridhiman, do you? If you were not sure how we got to this, just let me know. I can show you again.
I've got to this.
Okay, great. You got it. So let's take a look at all these functionalities. So here we have the basic line, so we have the line here. You can draw it like this, just we click with our mouse. Generally, CAD should be done with the mouse. So please make sure you are using a mouse in the future if you're doing more complex CAD. At the moment, if you don't have one, it's fine. But you can see that we now created this interesting shape. If we take any vertex and we drag it, we'll see that we can change the shape even after we've created it. And you'll see that till we drew that last line, nothing was shaded. But then when we drew that last line connecting this vertex to the origin here, this is called the origin. When we drew that, you see that the shape became shaded. And the shading indicates that this is a closed shape. And almost never in CAD will you ever create a shape that is not closed. So if you don't see this shading, the shaded shape here, you know that you most likely have made a mistake or something's not connected. For example, we can just delete this constraint here and have these touching each other, not touching. So you'll see here, if you were CADing in a rush, in a hurry, and you accidentally didn't make these touching or didn't make these coincident, that's the technical word for it, then you might wonder, why is this not a closed shape? Why can I not extrude this and give it a third dimension? The reason is this is not constrained. So if we combine those, or rather, if we undo what I just did and make this a closed shape, this is good. So that's the line tool. let me just undo that. Okay, then we have the rectangle.
Recently, whenever I'm clicking it, but like, wait, I don't see that line thingy for some reason in my hotbar.
Okay, if you'd like, you can just share your screen. I've enabled that, so you can just show me what you see.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I see. So what you've done is you've just gone to the front view, but you haven't clicked the sketch. So what you need to do is go over to that toolbar right there and double click on it. So that, yeah, there you go. So now you're in the sketch, and you have to select that front plane. Just click anywhere on that plane, that front, not there. Yeah, right there, exactly. Now you should see it. Okay.
So now how do I like, hold on.
So by dragging, yeah, just dragging your right mouse, your right button on the mouse around, you can navigate to the front plane.
Yeah, so like, how do I like draw a line?
So go over to the top toolbar there and hit the line.
Now I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, wait, hold on. It's like this, right?
Exactly.
And
And make sure that when you're drawing the lines,
close. Yeah.
well, not that. So make sure when you're drawing the lines, like if you look at the top right there, just Control Y that real quick.
Command Z.
Oh no, Control Y. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Okay, just yeah, go back to the on shape. Okay, it's fine. What I meant to say is that make sure your lines are all touching each other. Because I saw one of those lines, like two of those lines were not touching each other, and they should always touch each other. So anyways, that's about it. Can you stop your screen share?
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. So that was the line tool. Now we go over to the rectangle tool. You'll see we have a rectangle that can be made with two corners. You know, we can make a rectangle like this, just clicking our first point and then moving our mouse and then clicking again to put the second point. And then here we can give this a dimension by maybe just hitting one here and then one here, and that'll get us our rectangle. Then we can also make a center point rectangle. If we wanted to center our rectangle about something, we can do the same thing, just clicking the center point and then moving our mouse around and then clicking again. Okay, so then we moved. Those are the two kinds of rectangles that you can make. Then we move to the circle. There are three kinds of the curve and the closed curve. There are three types you can make here. Either you can make a normal center, clicking on the center point and then moving your mouse around to get the approximate shape, and then you can enter an actual diameter. Or you can use a 3-point circle. So maybe we'll click this point, click that point, and then maybe we'll move the third point around. So that's another. We can also make circles like that, and then we can create the ellipse. By doing this, and then specifying this value here. So those are the kinds of closed curves you can make. Then here we have the arc. The arc is a partial curve. So we have a 3-point arc similar to the 3-point circle, like this. It'll only take one portion of the circle and eliminate and not show the other portion. Then we have the tangent arc, where if you had a line here, say we have a line, and then we want to create this tangent arc, then okay, apologize for that. Let's redraw that. Like this. So the thing here is everything you draw, whatever you draw here will be tangent to this line. So if we were maybe to continue that circle by doing this, if we were to continue that circle, you'll see it is tangent to the line. So anyways, that's the point of the tangent arc. Then we have the center point arc where we can just do this and then specify our angle. And notice that each of these things I'm doing is just with a button click, with the left button click. So I said specify the center point, then I move the mouse to specify that radius, and then move the mouse and then specify the angle. Okay. Then we have the conic. This conic is I really have never used this before. It's not too important to use. It's very rarely. Okay, so that's about it for partial. Those are most of the partial curve options. We also have the spline here, where we can create a custom shape by giving a few points like this. And after we've made the shape, we can move the points and change the shape of the spline. And then we have another type of spline. These are not too important to know about. I'm just trying to get you guys an idea as to what exists. So if we create this this circle here, and we want to create a polygon, we can either inscribe a polygon in there, or we can circumscribe a polygon. So here, if we say we want an inscribed polygon, we'll just click the center here, and then we'll specify some the radius of that circle, and then we'll specify how many sides we want just by moving our mouse, or we can even just change that over here. Let me just delete this circle because we don't need it. Okay, so that's the point here. So do you guys understand actually what these what the circumscribed and inscribed mean? I don't know if you guys have learned about that yet. It's a geometry concept, but essentially that's what it is. You can also create a circumscribed polygon like this, which means the circle surrounds the shape instead of being located inside the shape. So these are some other options. So that's the kind of polygon. Here we have a point, a simple point if we want to map out a shape, or maybe use these as reference points. Here we can make a text box, we can just say hello and hit the check mark. And then if we wanted, we could legitimately extrude that and add text to our shape like this. It's pretty cool. Okay, anyways, going back to the sketch, just delete everything. Okay. Yeah, and these remaining tools are not too required. The only thing that is kind of useful that is quite useful in fact, is the mirror tool and the pattern tool. So let's say we have a circle here and we want to replicate this geometry, or maybe let's draw a more complex shape. Let's say we have this like the shape here, like this, and looks like that, and this is the shape. Okay. And so you first of all notice that it's shaded, it's become shaded, which means it's a closed shape as expected. And then say we want to mirror this, it's kind of a hassle to redraw everything, redimension everything to be the same as the left side. So instead, what can be done is we use this mirror option here, click that mirror option, choose the mirror line, and so that's done. And then we select all the lines that we want to mirror. So we can choose all of these. And so now if we just click outside or hit the escape button, that's completed. And you'll notice that these two sides are now linked together. So if we change this dimension to 3, the other side will also change. So that's a handy tool if we know that our shape will always be symmetrical. But again, you have to be absolutely sure that everything will always be symmetrical. Otherwise, this will not work. Then we have the pattern option. If we were to create this rectangle here like this, and then put a circle here, and then we want to pattern this circle. Maybe we want like a grid of holes. We could choose that option and then select, maybe we want 0.5 inch spacing, and we want 6 holes in that direction. And then along this direction, we want 3 holes, or 3 sets of holes, and they're spaced by minus 0.5 inches. Maybe we can afford to have like 5 rows like this. So that's the point of the pattern. And then, when we're done here, we can just extrude that shape. Maybe give it a 0.5 inch thickness like this. And here you see we have a nice grid plate. And in fact, the grid plate is a very commonly used piece of hardware. In fact, if we go over to this website, this is where Ink and Metal, the robotics team that I work on, this is where we get quite a few of our parts, and you can see a grid plate. So that's how that's a practical application of some of these tools. So I'm going to give you guys a task using these tools that you guys have learned, and then I will ask you to create it. So what I need you guys to make is a three-dimensional, or rather, I need you guys to create this general shape. I'll just show you a whiteboard. I will not show you how it's actually CADed. So I'll give you guys this line, and I need you guys to create that in a sketch. So here's that. Then we have this line here, horizontal line. Then we have an arc like this. And then we'll have another line over here. So, and then we will come back to the origin. Okay, so simply create this shape in your sketch. Okay, so I'll leave this open and I'll wait for you guys to make it. And make this bottom point here the origin. So make sure that the origin lies on the origin. Okay, let me know in the chat when you guys have finished it. Christina, no need to extrude right now. Just make the sketch. Okay, nice. Yeah, that looks right. Exactly. That's what we need. Okay. Riddiman, do you mind sharing your screen?
It's not letting me share my screen.
I've allowed everyone to share. Can you just try again?
Okay. Yeah, the button's not clicking for me.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so just to confirm, you have that general shape, right?
Yeah, I have it. This is I mean, like, how do you take out that opacity kind of a thing? Like, there's a little bit of opacity when you make a rectangular shape or anything.
Do you mean like it's shaded in a little bit gray?
Yeah.
Okay, that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
thinking because, like, how to maybe it was possible to get it.
Yeah, no, so it might annoy a little bit. Maybe the shading is not too nice to look at, but that is just an indication from OnShape that the shape is a closed piece. So
Yeah,
essentially, go ahead.
Yeah, one second. I think it's allowing me to share now.
Okay, go ahead. Just show me what you have.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ridhaman, can you just go into your sketch and show me how you made this part?
So basically, I first had like a rectangle here, then I had a triangle here and a circle here, and then like I cut into a semicircle.
Okay, I see. So did you make the rectangle separately?
Yeah. No, it was
Like,
just
did
like
you make the triangle and then make the rectangle?
I made a rectangle first.
Okay. Okay, I see. So this is fine. That's one way to do it. So you can just stop sharing your screen real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so the way Christina did it is exactly right. The way you did Ridhaman is also a way to do it, but it's not the best way. So I'll just show you how to do it. So essentially, we start our shape at the origin, because as I said in the instructions, we need to start at the origin. So we start at the origin, then we create this part here. Then we create the 3-point arc like this, or we can in fact create a center point arc as well. So let's just hover over this and then drag down so that the point we draw will lie directly underneath that line. So then we'll go up from that center point and click that as our radius, or as a point on our circumference. And then we'll just drag the mouse around here such that the other side is also vertical with that point, which as you can see from the dashed yellow line. And then we'll just click. So there we finished our arc, and we can escape that dimension thing because we don't need it for now. And then we'll just finish our shape like this. Okay, so this is how we'd make the shape. Okay, so Rhythm, the way you did it is fine. You can make composite parts like that, making multiple shapes, but you don't want those excess uh, lines. You had that line in the middle here with your that divided your rectangle and triangle. You don't want that. You only want
Right.
the contour.
Okay.
So this would be the right way to do it. Okay,
Got
so let me just give you another option here, another thing to do. So actually, it's not really required. I think you guys get the point. This is just an introduction to CAD. So anyways, now that we're done with the sketch, Rhythm, and you don't have to change it now. If you already started, you can just continue.
I just finished changing it.
Okay, great. So you can just hit the check mark there to finish the sketch. And then you'll see the 3D modifications toolbar. So now you're out of the sketch, you're out of the 2D realm. Now you're ready to enter the 3D realm. So now you're in the 3D realm, you have these options here. You can extrude, you can just straight up give this a third dimension like that. So that's one thing to do. Or you can revolve, you can revolute this shape around a line. So you can choose the shape, then you can go over here and click revolve axis, go on that box, click it, and then you can click this. And then you'll see you've revolved and you created the shape. Another thing you can do is a sweep. Sweep I won't really talk about at the moment. It's a bit more complex. Loft is another thing you can do. So once these are really the main creating that three-dimensional solid in the first place. So for the moment, we'll just extrude this. We'll click the shape, and then we'll give it a length or a depth of maybe 2 inches. And then we'll hit checkbox. And so now we're done with that. And by the way, you can see a history of everything we're doing at the left here in this tree. So once we've done that, you see these modification options. These are the creation of the 3D object in the first place, and you use these tools here to modify that resulted 3D.
Extrude is not working for me.
Okay, just share your screen, show me.
Okay, so wait, can you just show it once more?
Yeah. Okay. So what I did is I simply now that we're out of the 2D shape, we just click that checkbox on the sketch to exit the sketch. And now we should just be at this view where we see like a gray sketch.
Yeah.
Okay, now we go over here and hit extrude. And then we click the shape. We just click the contour.
Okay, and then
here we just hit 2 inches. We just change that to our keyboard.
I put like a depth of 2 inches. Hold on. I think it's probably the view. Yeah, okay, now I see it. Here's the view.
Okay. And then we just change that. We just hit check mark rather. And then we should see.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have the modification features. So here's a fillet. It's not a fillet, it's a fillet. People pronounce that incorrectly too much. It's a fillet. So anyways, a fillet gives a rounded edge to something. You can see a rounded edge there. You can change the radius of that round. Maybe we'll give it a 0.1 inch fillet there. Then we have the chamfer. The chamfer is similar to a fillet, except we're giving we're giving a sharp edge to the piece. So here we can just chamfer. Maybe that's not the best edge to chamfer. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, here. So maybe we'll give this a 4 millimeter chamfer. So you'll see here, that previously was a straight edge, but now we've made it still a straight edge, but we've now made it a little less extreme. We just check that and you see it's rounded off. So if we just undid the fillet real quick, and then we can chamfer this entire shape like this. Okay, and you'll see it just changes the shape of the piece. So this chamfer tool is used sometimes for structural stability. If you have a shape that looks like this, a shape that looks like this in your mechanism, in your design, then you have a lot of load in this direction here. You don't have too much support right here. Like you don't have a brace over here holding that up. It's prone to breaking at this point here. This part here can snap pretty easily. So to prevent that, you can add a bit of a chamfer here, chamfer that edge here, so that now the shape looks like this. Now the shape would look like this. Like that. Just forgive me, you get what I'm saying. The drawing is kind of bad, but you know what I'm saying. So that'll increase the structural stability of the piece. So yeah, that's the use of the chamfer. Then we have some more features. This is the draft, the rib, not used too often. I'll just delete the chamfer for now. Then we have the shell. If we want to, make this piece hollow, we could just select this face here and it'll shell the rest of the piece. Maybe we'll give a wall thickness or a shell thickness of like 0.2 inches. And you can see we have that done. So anyways, that's one tool. Then we have the hole option. So, if we were to go over here, create a sketch, just place a point there somewhere, doesn't matter where. And then it usually does matter, but here for a demonstration, it doesn't matter. And then we can just select that point by clicking the hole tool and then clicking the point. And then you'll see we have multiple options for creating a hole. We can give maybe a 5-inch depth to the hole. We can change the type of hole to a counter bore, where it can look like this. So it can be a much more complex kind of hole. But yeah, so that's the point here. And then we have some more features. We have a 3-dimensional pattern. We have a mirroring tool, so we can just hit mirror, mirror this part here, and then mirror about this plane. And then you'll see that the part has been mirrored, and it's quite useful. Then we have some more complex features which are very rarely used. And then we have this one section here that is used quite often. It's a plane feature. And just in general, creating different geometry, like we can create a plane in relation to this surface. So we'll just hit that and then offset the plane by maybe 0.5 inches. And then you'll see, if we hit the checkbox, we'll see that this plane is offset 0.5 inch away from there, as you can see. So yeah, anyways, that's an overview of the kind of parts you have available. So what I'll ask you to do right now as a final exercise for the workshop is create an hourglass shape, and I'll show you what the hourglass should look like. I'll give you a cross section of the hourglass, and I'll ask you guys to CAD that. So I'll just clear everything. Okay, so the thing should look like this. Okay, and don't worry about hollowing out the hourglass. Just worry about creating this general shape. And I'll give you 2 hints. One is that you should be using the Revolute tool. And the second thing you should remember is that you can use a spline or an arc to make these curved parts here. So get to it, and I'll get back to you guys in 1 minute or maybe 2 minutes. Or really, we'll just get back to it whenever you guys are ready. Okay, so Christina, can you just share your screen with me? Okay, so can you use the Revolute tool to actually create the solid?
Where's the Revolut tool?
Okay, so show me your screen. Okay, so at the top left, you should see um, the one right next to the extrude button, to the right of the extrude button. It's like a dotted line with a donut-shaped piece around it. That's the revolute option.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So one way you could have done it is simply um, draw this portion like this. Then you could have drawn this part in multiple ways. You could have maybe used a spline like this and drawn, or you could have maybe just used an arc. So you could just choose a 3-point arc and maybe do this. So you know the better way to do it would be using a spline because this part will not always be circular. So you can just use a spline like that, and then we'll hit escape, go down a little bit, and then create a 3-point arc like this. And then we'll just make this vertical here. Okay, and then we'll finish the shape like so, and then we'll replicate the spline on the bottom. And then we'll finish off the shape like this. Okay, and this is a little bit more complex, but we can set equality. So these two lines will always be equal. Then we can make these vertical and these vertical to ensure that the shape is symmetrical. Okay. So yeah, now that we have that, what we'll do is revolve this. So now we have this general shape. Now we can exit the sketch. So if you notice in your sketch, you had the entire shape drawn, but you don't need that because all you need is this one piece. And then if you rotate that about this line, you will get the shape that you want, as you can see. Unfortunately, this is not a very nice hourglass, but it has that general shape, as you can see. So you don't need to draw the entire thing. You can just draw half. So yeah, so that's an introduction to 3D modifications and 2D sketching. So if we were to do further projects, we could import this into an assembly. We could bring this in here, then maybe insert something from another document. Like maybe we'll insert one second while this loads. Yeah, so maybe we can just insert something like this. And then we could, maybe make some manipulations here and constrain these to each other. For example, creating this planar mate over here, such that this plane will always be in contact with this plane. And then you can move it around, but you'll notice that that plane is always in contact. Those planes are always in contact. So yeah, anyways, that's the introduction to CAD. I hope both Christiana and Rindaman and everyone who is currently watching this recording has understood, the basics of CAD, basics of creating 2D and 3D geometry in Onshape. These same principles apply to other softwares like, if you're using Tinkercad or you're using Autodesk Inventor or Fusion 360 or even our SolidWorks, all of them use these same principles. So yeah, thank you very much for joining. And I'll see you in another session. Bye-bye.